Good morning, Wichita. I am Vice Mayor Johnson. Here with me today is Police Chief Gordon Ramsay. We just wanted to talk really quick. On next week's City Council meeting, we'll be discussing the asset seizure and forfeiture budget. And that budget comes from the sale of property that the police confiscate. Some of the items that the police think are connected to a suspected crime, such as illegal gambling, which we hear a lot about here in Wichita, illegal gun use, or the sale of drugs, can be confiscated, and after the judicial process is completed, they can be sold. After those items are sold, the IRS actually gives those funds collected back to the police departments, where they are used to purchase new law enforcement equipment and more to help our community stay safe and help combat future criminal activity. With that, did I miss anything, Chief?
I think you hit on the highlights for sure.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, so a couple of years ago, Kansas law was reformed to be more transparent. The laws that were passed really were designed to further regulate the forfeiture activities and present a high level of transparency. You can go to the website and see every forfeiture we've done, along with details associated with race and items taken and some details surrounding the forfeiture.
Awesome. So what are, I guess, some of the items that we normally have, confiscated here in Wichita?
So the idea of the forfeiture law is to not allow criminals to take their proceeds from their crime, right? If we know someone is, burglarizing homes, selling drugs, using illegal gambling machines, they shouldn't be allowed to keep those proceeds from their illegal activities. So that's kind of the guise at which this operates under. But we forfeit items, guns that are used in crimes, guns that are used by criminals to do robberies, obviously money that's associated with drug sales, money that's been made through gambling, illegal gambling operations. Those are a few of the ways or a few of the items that we seize associated with this law.
Okay. I know in other parts of the nation there have been lawsuits regarding forfeiture activities, but our police department has clear guidelines outlining our forfeiture activities, and we tend to ensure that the accounting of forfeiture funds is separate from our police budget, right?
Correct. Okay. Yep. And also, we have an extensive policy that guides the use of forfeitures. The council sees, where that money goes, as does, so all that's public. Anybody can see that information. The transparency that's come about in the last couple of years around forfeiture, I think, is a really good step in the right direction.
Awesome. And the website you mentioned earlier is kansas.gov/KBI, and that's a report that you all send on a regular basis, right?
Yeah, that came about from a couple of years ago, the change with the forfeiture statute. And we spend a significant amount of time putting that data in there so people can see what we're doing.
Awesome. So on Tuesday, for those watching, we'll discuss adopting the 2021 IRS asset seizure and forfeiture budget. And there are approximately $83,703 in that account. So with that money, what would that be used for?
Oftentimes the money's used for training. To further give our officers opportunities to learn more about important items that we're focusing on. It can be de-escalation training, it can be proper forfeiture training, things along those lines, as well as equipment that we need for the department.
So it's all taking those dollars and investing back in our department to make our department better and more responsive to the community.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So what happens to items we can't sell, like illegal drugs or stuff like that?
Yeah, drugs are destroyed, obviously, and we have a schedule where we routinely go through and destroy those after cases have been adjudicated.
Okay. And then for residents that may have an issue like this, is there a process that they can undergo to retrieve any forfeited property?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really a critical point that people need to know, is that asset forfeiture is governed by due process. That is, if someone feels that their items or money was taken unlawfully, they can appear before a judge and make their case. And that due process happens in every forfeiture case. So we don't want people to think that, you know, the government just comes and takes their goods without an opportunity for them to say that it was unfair or unlawful. There is a thorough process that's outlined in legislation as to how someone can, you know, make the argument that that was theirs and it wasn't made through illegal means.
Right. I think it's fair to say they don't get the drugs back, though.
Correct.
All right, thanks, Chief. We do have a couple other items on the consent agenda next Tuesday, including several task forces in partnership with the FBI that we are approving, a human trafficking task force and a safe streets task force. Could you talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, so much crime these days, it's not, you know, a single person that's doing it. Oftentimes there's networks of crime. And as we've all been talking about for the last year, as part of what we've seen with COVID, is we've seen crime increase in certain areas. We've also seen it go down in certain areas, but our violent crime has gone up. We have continually seen an issue with human trafficking in our community. And that's not something that the police can always deal with alone, because oftentimes it's networked through different cities and different criminal networks. So our federal partnerships help us be more effective at shutting down those networks, as well as, you know, we don't have the personnel to do it alone.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we do partner with these other agencies because it makes us more effective and keeps our community safe and our kids safe. You know, human trafficking is a significant issue, and we want to do everything we can to keep, you know, our women and kids safe.
Yeah. Well, on that, just a random question. Have we seen any improvement over the years? I know Kellogg and 135 are kind of major corridors and kind of led to some of our issues here. Have we seen any reductions in trafficking or?
You know, it ebbs and flows, but sadly, because of the internet and the amount of human trafficking that takes place via the internet, it seems to, as soon as we make an arrest in those cases, we see, you know, someone else come in and step in that place. So we continue to do our best, but really it's a problem that as a society we need to deal with, and it can't just be a law enforcement issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your work on that, Chief, and everything you've been doing here. We have a big agenda on Tuesday, and we anticipate moving these items forward to increase public safety. Make sure you tune in to the council meeting. Thank you all for watching. As always, you can watch our council meetings on the City of Wichita YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wichita.gov, or Cox Channel City 7. Thanks for tuning in.